All right. I hope, I believe we're ready to do this. So, welcome to Craftsman Creative's yearly planning and goal setting worksheet training. Let's call it training. I've been really excited for this. I have also been very slammed, and so I'm making sure that I arrive on time. And then I forgot to change the recording folder, and so here we are, take 2. So we're live now because I wanted to do it live, but this will also be a recording for those that want to sign up for the email and get the worksheet for this presentation, this webinar, this whatever we're calling it. And what we're going to talk about today is how to do a yearly review, a yearly planning session, and how to set goals in a way that helps you achieve them over the next year. So the reason I wanted to make something like this is because in years past, I have sat there on January 1st, notebook open, and just completely blank. No idea what I want to accomplish, no idea how I'm going to do it, if that was even a thought about the approach I was going to take. That usually wasn't even part of the process. It was just, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. And a lot of times I would default to kind of these monetary or visual goals like $100,000 or buying a house or paying off a car or stuff like that, without realizing whether or not those were going to actually fulfill me or not. They just seemed like good goals. Later it became things like weight loss goals or fitness goals or things like that. And so over the last, I'd say 4 or 5 years, I've really taken a lot of notes when people come out with their own yearly reviews, their own way of goal setting and planning. And whether it's in the context of New Year's resolutions or New Year planning, or whether it's just in general, I would take those notes. And so what I've done is compiled all of them, put together a worksheet, and this is kind of the kickoff point for a big year-long coaching program that I am starting in 2021. So what I would suggest for this video is I'm going to try to be like an hour. Try to keep it to an hour for your sake. So if you need to, you can come back and watch this later. And again, if you want to go get a recording of it, sign up for the email list. And this is why I would what you can do is you can go over to build.craftsmancreative.co. This is the coaching program I was just talking about. I want to help you build a resilient business to support the creative work that you're doing in the next 12 months. I don't think it's going to take 12 months. I think there's a lot of progress we can make in the next 3 months. And I'd love to have you join me. This is basically my way of being able to coach a lot more people than I've been able to this year, because I've spent so much time building Craftsman Creative and Benchmark and all these other things that I've been working on this year. I want to be helping people one-on-one. And most people are, from what I've learned this year, are not able to do, $1,000 a month private one-on-one coaching. And so what I've done is put together a 12-month coaching platform specifically for artists, creatives, freelancers, and small business owners, people who are building things and want to build something that's a little bit better than what they currently have. If you're at all frustrated with the results you're getting in your business, whether it's making enough money, reaching enough people, having enough of an impact, whatever that may be, I want to help you get there next year. So go to build.craftsmancreative.co. There's a little bit more detail there, and there's 2 things you can do. You can sign up for the program. It's only $99 a month. And if you're not ready yet, hopefully by the end of this training today, you'll be a little bit closer, but I want to give you as much as I can for free. So if you go, you can download the workbook that I'm going to be using for this training. Just put in your name and email, get 1 month free training, and you'll instantly get a link to be able to head over to this document, 7 Steps to a Fulfilling Year in 2021. Very exciting, right? So this is what we're going to be working off of. But if you don't have that, or if you don't want to sign up, that's totally fine. You're probably going to be able to get the bulk of what you need out of just watching this video. What I would recommend, though, is some sort of notebook, or if you want to head over and put in your email at build.craftsmancreative.co, get a link to this Craftsman Creative goal setting and yearly planning worksheet, you can literally just go in, and what you'll do is go file, make a copy, because you won't be able to edit this document. This is for me to edit and not for you to edit. But if you want to use it, you can literally start typing your answers in on the document, but you'll need to make your own copies. Go file, make a copy. So let's dive in with, here's where we're starting. In order to head into 2021 with as much momentum and focus and excitement as possible, we need to take the time to review where we are. Where do we want to go? And create a plan for how to get there. This worksheet and this training that I'm doing right now with you will get you and walk you through every single step of the process. So I want to make sure you give yourself enough time, but I'm going to be just going through everything, not really leaving time for you to write answers down. But if you want to be writing down the prompts and the questions that are in here, that's totally fine. You should have enough time to be able to do that in this training today. So we talked about making a copy of the document. Here's where we are and here's where we're headed. We're going to cover clarity and certainty and excitement and state and focus, commitment, momentum, and a plan. It's a lot more in-depth than what you've probably done or seen before in your own life. But the reason we want to use a system like this is so that we can actually get the things that we want. So if you have goals for your life, we want to make sure that you can achieve them. I want to help you achieve them, whether that's a monetary goal, getting to $100,000 a year or $1 million a year, whatever it may be, whether it's reaching more people, having more fulfillment, having more freedom or time, or whatever it might be in your life. That's what I'm trying to help you do. And we really need to start with a yearly planning session. And, last year, mine kind of coincided with this seminar that I went to and learned a lot about myself and the desire that I have to help people like you that are watching this with your businesses. And so that's why we're here now. And so later this week, probably before Christmas, I'm going to go and have my own half a day, whether it's here at my office or I've even thought about, renting a cabin or a hotel room or something in order to really just shut the world off and focus on this. And that's what I'd recommend, is trying to get into a situation and a place that you can really take this process seriously. But my promise is that if you actually go through a process like this, that you're going to have so much more that you achieve next year than what you've probably experienced in years past. And it's not all about achievement. There needs to be a level of fulfillment in there, and that's why we're doing it this way, and we've built some of that in. So let's start. Enough preamble. What I would do is either make a copy of this document or start, open up a new note on your computer, your phone, or get out a notebook, a physical notebook if that's what you prefer. And we're going to start with clarity. Now, we start by getting clarity on where we are right now. That's what we really want to understand. One of my favorite quotes from this year is, well, I'm not even going to go into why it's a favorite quote, because we'll take a big detour into politics, and we don't want to do that right now. But here it is. Truth is a knowledge of things as they are and as they were and as they are to come. This is actually a scripture verse, and so I believe that it's true not just because it feels true, but because of the source. But this first part is very, very important. Truth is a knowledge of things as they are. So what we want to understand in this first part of the process is what is really going on. We need a knowledge of things as they are. And we want to make sure that we're not just seeing things as they are. We don't want to see things any worse than they are either. A lot of times what we can do, especially at the end of the year, is we'll get to a point where we feel like a failure for XYZ reasons. And us creatives especially, I think, are really good at being too hard on ourselves. And so we don't want to do that. We just want to see things as they are. We want to know what's really going on in our business. So we start in probably an interesting place. What did you love in the last 12 months? And if you're not going through the process with a notebook, again, I recommend that you are actually doing this process. And in the future, if you're watching a recording of this, you can pause it whenever you need to write your answers down. But if you're not doing that right now, just think about it. Like, take the process seriously and think about it. But what I would recommend is This is something I pulled from Tim Ferriss, is that he would go through his calendar for the entire year and look at all the things that he did that were in there, the people he had lunches with, the events he went to, the things that happened, the milestones, the birthdays, the people. So look at your calendar and ask yourself, what amazing things happened this year? What did you get to do? What did you accomplish? What occurred for you that you're grateful for? And take a few minutes to write down some of those things. So you can write down, what were some magical moments? And you can pause here if you want to write down your answers. I would also recommend, if you go to, turn on your favorite music, get a nice cup of coffee or tea or water or whatever it is that you drink. And I love this website called brain.fm. And it's just a great music bed. There's no lyrics. It just kind of gets you into a cool state for doing stuff like this. So if you're doing a whole session, like you're going to take an hour or two to go through this process, check out Brain FM and turn on some tunes that way. So answer these questions and take them seriously and really give yourself the time that you need to write these out. What were some magical moments from 2020? What are some moments of grace or luck? This has been a huge lesson for me this year, that you can execute and work hard and have everything that you need. You can do everything possible to try to demand success from life. But if you're not accounting for a certain element of and a certain amount of luck or grace from God to help you in ways that you could never have helped yourself, then I feel like you're actually not doing it right. I feel like it's such an important part of the process to account for that in everything that you're doing. And so, what are some moments of grace or luck? What did you accomplish in 2020? This is an opportunity to list out everything, big, medium, or small, that you accomplished in every area of your life. We want to see that even though 2020 was a heck of a year, you did a lot. Did you start a business this year? Did you make new sales this year? Bring on new clients this year? Did you have new ideas or projects? Did you build a website? Did you grow your social media following? Did you get married or start or end a relationship? Did you have children? Did family come in or leave your life? Were there people that passed away? It's important to see everything that you've been through and everything that you've accomplished this year. So what did you accomplish in 2020? And there's no threshold here. There's nothing that says it has to be above this monetary value or this impressiveness score, right? Put down everything, and what you're going to see in just a few minutes, 5-10 minutes of writing down everything you accomplished in 2020. Again, looking at your calendar and seeing everything that you were able to do this year, you're going to start feeling different about how this year went. And then lastly, what are some things you want to duplicate next year? So if there were seminars you went to, if there were new products that you created or new partnerships that you found, whatever it is that you really loved about this year, write down some of those things that you want to duplicate next year, because those are the highlights. And the more highlights we have, the more fulfillment, the more happiness and joy we have in our life. And that's pretty great to have those things. Okay, so pause here if you need to. There's 4 prompts for you to answer, and really just take it seriously. Write down as many things as come to mind and take the time to go through your calendar and see what actually happened this year. And then you can pause here and do that, and then we're going to hop into the next prompt, which is, what did you hate in the last 12 months? And this list might be long because 2020, again, was a year. So what did you hate in the last 12 months? What was challenging this year? What do you not want to have happen again? What did you learn by going through these experiences? And a little bit of a twist here, what makes those things valuable? So you can pause here and you can answer those, but what we want to really get from this is an understanding that there are some things that are completely out of our control, and there's ways that we can try to avoid them, but there are going to be new things next year that happen that are, again, out of our control. And we need to let those things go. If there's something that happened back in April that you're still holding on to, like maybe you got let go. I got furloughed in April for 4 months. And yeah, part of me got pretty frustrated about that. But instead of wallowing in it for 8 months, I decided to build Craftsman Creative and then another app with my brother. and start filming courses and start taking proactive actions to make a good year out of this year that otherwise could have been pretty crappy. So not only what did you hate, but looking at how do we make those not happen again? What did you learn by going through those experiences? And what makes them valuable? Okay, so pause here, answer those questions, and then let's go to the next prompt. What decisions did you make in the last 12 months that were empowering for you? What were some of the most important decisions this year for you? And what decisions might you make next year as a result? We really want to look at what are the things that we had control over this last year that we took action on and had good results. Did you decide to build something, create something, start something, end something, whatever it may be? We need to get, again, we're talking about clarity here. And we're talking about what are the things that you did that you actively had control over, and how did what were the results of those? What decisions did you make in the last 12 months that were empowering for you? Because it's a signal and a sign that says, do more of that. Because if they are empowering, that's just a signal that it's true to who you are at your deepest core. That if you decided to help more people and contribute more, and that felt really empowering and amazing, and that a lot of great things happen from that, well, maybe you're somebody that's really driven by this ability to contribute. And we need to do more of that, because the more you do that, you're not only going to feel more fulfilled. Wow. You're not only going to feel more fulfilled, but you're actually going to recognize and realize more success because you're being true to who you are and your real deep core strengths. Okay? So you can pause it there, answer those questions. Again, what were some of the most important decisions this year for you? And what decisions might you make next year as a result? Take it seriously. Don't just write down 1 or 2 sentences. Write out a paragraph or more. Take the time until you really feel like you've completely answered that question. And then we're going to move on to step 2, which is getting certainty. So we've gone from a complete understanding of what really went on this year, where we are right now in our business and in our life. And now we're going to move into certainty. Now that you know where you are and what you've accomplished this year, despite a global pandemic and economic uncertainty, might I add, we now need to create certainty about your capacity to take your dreams and make them reality. So, 3 prompts for you, 3 questions for you to answer this time. The first one is, write down anything in your life that you now have that was once, at one point, a goal or a dream. Big or small, however impossible it seemed at the time. Anything in your life that you now have that at one point was a goal or a dream. Did you start working for yourself this year? Are you making more money this year than you ever have because you asked for a raise? Did you create something that you never thought possible? Did you do something that maybe required greater skill or greater understanding or greater work ethic that you didn't know was possible because you'd never tried to push that hard? Write down those things, because we're going to start pumping you up. We're going to start helping you understand all of the incredible things that you are capable of. And without knowing who you are on the other side of this camera, I know that your potential is unlimited, that you are so incredibly capable of accomplishing your dreams. And as adults, and especially as freelancers and artists and creatives, it's really easy to feel crushed at times that we're not capable because we take things too seriously. We take things to mean something that they don't. And it's really easy to crush our spirits that way. And so we need to rebuild that a little bit. So the first thing, again, we're going to write down anything that was once a goal or a dream that is now a reality. And then hopefully you've got a list of 10, 20, 30, 50 things. Like, take it seriously and build out long lists. That will make you feel really good just doing that process. Now, once you've done that and you have your big long list, and again, pause if you need to take the time to write that list out, but bold the 2 to 3 items on your list that seemed the most difficult or impossible to achieve at the time. Which ones were huge hurdles, huge mountains to climb? And just circle them or bold them or underline them or or write a new list on the side to pull those out because we want to highlight them. And then this last question, for those 2 to 3 items, write down the steps that you went through to achieve them in as much detail as you can remember. So some prompts, some ideas. Did you focus on it continuously? Was it like a nonstop? You woke up in the morning thinking about it and you went to bed thinking about it, and it was what you were daydreaming about the whole day. Did you focus on it continuously? Did you put a lot of emotional energy into achieving it, meaning you tied like meaning and purpose and identity to that thing? Well, then what happened? And write down every step of the process. Did you create a plan? What were the actual steps you went through? And take the time don't try to encapsulate all 3 into one list of things that you did. Go one by one. So for the first one, what was the process you went through? What were the steps to achieve that thing? And if it was years ago, it might be harder to remember, but really try to put yourself in that time, in that moment, and think, okay, I started here, and it was like months of thinking about it and jotting down notes or ideas or capturing images or inspiration. And then we went to this step and this step and this step. Write it out in as much detail as possible. Okay? Go ahead and pause if you're rewatching this, but if not, or if you've already done what you need to do, then let's go to the next part. So the next part is step 3, and we're talking about your emotional state or your level of excitement. Okay? This is something you have control over, believe it or not. So right before hopping on this video, I was mired in just responding to a bunch of emails and taking care of some business stuff, like a credit card payment didn't go through and somebody needed something that I quickly needed to respond to, and I was just kind of in a rushed emotional state. And then I saw the 15-minute reminder in my calendar that popped up as a notification in the top bar of the computer and said, hey, this is happening in 15 minutes. And I went, oh. And what I did not do was scramble to get everything together. What I did do was take those 15 minutes to close all the other applications that I was working on, shut it down, put my phone on silent, put my computer on silent, and get into a better emotional state to be on camera. Because for those of you that know me, this is more talking than I do in hours and hours and hours of hanging out together. I'm just not a person I'm probably equal parts introvert, extrovert. But if you know me, you know that I'm not a big talker. I don't walk into a room and with this big personality and can just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. That's not who I normally am. But here I am yet on camera with, I would say, for me at least, a high level of excitement and a really great emotional state, because I'm picturing the people on the other side of this that are watching. I'm picturing my wife. I'm picturing Brandon. I'm picturing Jake. I'm picturing Clark. I'm picturing Haley. I'm picturing all these people that I'm making this for, and I have decided how I want to show up. And the more that we can show up in the right emotional state, and that doesn't have to be big, loud, excited, fast talking. It doesn't mean that. It just means being 100% of whatever emotion that you're trying to be. That's how we start getting better at accomplishing the goals that we want to accomplish. So let's dive into this section. Step 3, excitement and state. This is one of my favorite parts. Getting into a state and starting to think of what we want to accomplish, what we want to become, and what we want to do in our lifetime. Now, it's important because if we are, I don't have a wide enough camera at the moment. I'm going to take a step back. So if we're on our desk, slumped over, shoulders down, compressed, head down, leaning on our cheek, or even rubbing our temple and going, man, I just don't know how on earth I'm going to accomplish this stuff. I don't know. Do you hear and see what just happened there? Like, my voice went down, my energy went down, my breathing got shallow, I got super monotone, and the thing I kept reinforcing in my head was, I don't know. And so my brain is going, well, yeah, I don't know. So if you try to write goals down for next year in that sort of an emotional state, it's gonna be really hard to come up with big, awesome plans and ideas. And so if you need to shake it off, there's 3 parts of state that play into the emotion that you're feeling at any moment. And you can change it by doing these 3 things. I'm gonna do it quickly because that's not really what this training is about, but it's so important and so cool. So what did I just do? I went from here, down, rubbing, I don't know, to here. Oh my gosh, let's go. You can do it that fast. It takes some practice, and I'm not faking this right now. I'm genuinely showing up in this emotional state. This is not a performance. This is me in this way. So what you need to do is focus on 3 things. Your physiology, the way your body is working. So if you're slumped, shoulders compressed, shallow breathing, head down, that is your physiology, and that's unhelpful. So stop it, okay? What we need to do is get up, expand, pull the shoulders back, stretch out a little bit, flex your muscles, smile, lift your eyebrows up, get your head up so it's not down. Get your hands off your face and down like this. No, it's big, it's open, there is eternal possibilities. That's what we're trying to show and reenact with our body, our physiology, okay? Part 1, physiology. Part 2 is the language you're using. Remember the language I went into? I don't know. Physiology and language really can screw you up. So stop saying I don't know and say something that's more encouraging and more empowering. When we're talking about setting goals, what about this is going to be awesome? This is incredible. This is exciting. This is so cool. I can't wait. As soon as you start using better language around whatever it is activity-wise that you're doing, whether it's your work, whether it's your family, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your spirituality, or whether it's a process like this, working on yourself and your business, the words you use really matter. So don't undercut yourself by saying, I don't know, I'm not good enough, I can't. Get that stuff out of here. And let's talk about possibility and excitement right now. The last thing is what you're focusing on. So physiology, language, and focus. So if you're focusing on how hard it's going to be, if you're focusing on the times in the past that you failed, it's not helpful. That's why we did step 1 and step 2, to get clarity and get certainty, to show us that we've done this before. And now we can focus on doing it again and focus on possibility and taking action and making things happen. So now that you're in a peak state, and if you need to take a minute to do that process, physiology, language, and focus, do it now before you answer these questions, because you need to be in a peak state and you need to have a level of excitement. In a peak state, write down every goal you would like to accomplish in your lifetime. In your lifetime. Huge. Include anything you want to do, share, be, create, have, or give. Include financial goals, personal development goals, physical goals, relationship goals, contribution goals. Anything you'd like to do or learn or enjoy, write them down. It doesn't matter if it's big or small, impactful or not, for millions of people or just yourself. It doesn't matter. Just start writing. Don't second guess anything. Don't undercut yourself. Just keep writing. Every single idea you can possibly think of, anything you want to do, share, be, create, have, or give, just keep writing. So pause this now if you need to, because, and again, for those of you watching live, I apologize, but pause this now. Get in that emotional state. Pump up some music and get to a point where you are in a peak state and just write until you have nothing else. No other ideas, big or small. Just keep writing, okay? When you're finished, go through the list and write down the number of years you think or want it to take to achieve that goal. Don't put 1.5 or 7.2 or whatever. We're going to limit it to 3 options: 1, 2, or 5. Because if it's 5, we don't know. It could be 3, 5, 10, 20. We don't know. It's long, right? With every single one, if you wrote it in a big paragraph, just do little circles over it, or use a highlighter, green for 1, blue for 2, yellow for 5, whatever you want to do. But we need to start looking at them in a way, because there's some big goals and some long-term goals, and there's probably some small, very achievable in the next 3, 6, 12-month goals that we want to pull out. So once you've done the process of writing everything down, we're now going to get a little bit analytical. We're going to shift our physiology, we're going to shift our language, and shift our focus. We're not now big, dreamy drive, let's go, let's do this thing. Now we're going, ooh, let's get a little scientific here. Let's get a little introspective. Let's start analyzing what we wrote here. Let's start putting this down in a way where we can see what's possible next year. So all of a sudden my voice changed. The way that I'm kind of moving has gotten a little bit foxy and a little bit, intriguing, right? Because we're curious now. So go through the list and write down the number of years you think or want it to take to achieve those different goals. If you wrote out 50 goals, that's okay. Write a 1, 2, or 5 next to every single one, okay? Go ahead and do that. Pause if you need to, and then come back. We're going to next go to step 4, which is focus. So now that you've dreamed and put all your goals down on paper, it's time to shift toward action and planning. The first step is to decide what to focus on. What do you want to accomplish that can be done in the next year? Out of your list of goals from the next step, this is part 1 or question 1, circle or highlight your 1-year goals. This is choosing what you want most from your entire list. So if there's some of those 1-year goals that you're like, now that I look at it again, I'm being scientific and curious and those kind of things, I don't really care about that. But it was great in the moment, and maybe that's something you can circle back to next year or 6 months from now or 5 years from now. But circle all the 1-year goals, maybe even put a new list and start writing down the ones that really excite you. Choose what you want most from that list of 1-year goals. Now, what are the goals that if you could achieve them this year, they would get you up early and keep you up late with excitement? So maybe you've got 5 or 10 or even 20 goals there that you wanted to, or that you thought could be done, or you want to be done in the next year. Well, which of those, we're starting to narrow it down and funnel it down even more. What are the goals that if you could achieve them this next year in 2021, or the next 12 months, if you're doing this in March or July or September, what are the goals that if you could achieve them this year, they would get you up early and keep you up late with excitement? The reason we're asking this is because these are the goals that are going to be easier to achieve and more exciting to keep going when things get hard. We need to build in some of this excitement and state into the goal itself, okay? So pause if you need to, answer those questions fully, make sure you circle the ones, pull out the ones that are 1-year goals, and then really dive into the ones that are most exciting. Now, if you have a business goal, maybe it's a goal to start a new business next year. I'm speaking specific to one person at this point. This is where you want to start thinking about what might be in a good alignment with that goal. So if you say, I want to start a business, but I don't know if it's a product or a service or a website or consulting or any of those things, you don't know what the idea is, that's okay. Make sure you put down that one of your goals is to find out what it is your business is going to be. That's part of the goal. That's part of the process. So if we just say start a business, well, that's not specific enough, but we'll get there. We're going to dive into the specificity aspect, but this is where you want to start thinking about and writing down goals to figure out what it is that you want to achieve and what it is that you want to create. Okay, let's move on to step 5, which is commitment. We're about halfway through, I think, and we're at 34 minutes. So that's good. We might hit the hour mark. Okay, step 5, commitment. We need to cement these goals now. Now, seriously now. They just can't be words on a page. They need to drive you and they need to motivate you. It's time now to commit to action. And the way we do that is by putting down the reasons that we are going to commit to achieving this goal. So for each of your 1-year goals, now you've gone through, you've pulled all your 1-year goals, you've circled the ones that are most exciting, And whether that's 3 or 5 or 10, it doesn't really matter. There's no limit and there's no quota that you have to meet here. But for each one of those 1-year goals that you've chosen, write a paragraph about why that goal is a must for you to achieve it. Not just a cool thing, not just that would be fun. Why is it a must? Here are some prompts to help you with it. What are the reasons you absolutely will achieve this no matter what? Why do you want to do this? What will it mean if you achieve it? Who do you want to serve through this? Who else will it affect besides you? How will it feel? And who will you become? These reasons are really what's going to help you achieve these goals. This is a process that I really took seriously this year. And to just be brief with like the things that I was able to accomplish this year. Filmed an entire television series, like filmed an entire season of a TV show in the middle of a global pandemic, started 2 businesses, made tens of thousands of dollars in the middle of a pandemic on these new businesses, and set myself up by building processes and systems and leverage to where next year I've got 2 businesses that are set up to be able to become $1 million a year businesses. I say that with as much humility as I can because I'm grateful for that I have learned these processes, but those things would not have occurred without the coaching I've received, without the seminars that I've attended, without the books that I've read that have led me to this very process that I'm teaching you right now. The point is, the sky's the limit. There is no limitation on what you can achieve and what is possible for you, even and especially if you haven't done it before. I've never built a technology app business before, but here we are. And last night, I had a conversation with an investor who's going to lead the seed round for our company. Did I just say that? That's not something I've ever said before in my entire life. But it's possible because of the way that I and my business partner, my brother Michael, set goals and the reasons that these things were a must for us. And you know what? The thing that's really cool is that my reasons for building Craftsman Creative and this tool, this app that we're building, my reasons are for you guys that are watching this, which makes it extra special because you guys are the most motivating thing that I've found this year to drive me to create and to make and to do things. So you need to write down the reasons that these goals you've set for yourself are musts. And this, maybe more than any other part of the process, state is pretty important, but more than any part of the process, you have to have reasons that drive you to get up and stay up and do the work, no matter how hard it is, no matter how long it takes. Okay, question number 2. What are some of the things that you need to do that you don't want to do in order to achieve these goals? I love this question because especially as artists and creatives, when things get hard, when we get stuck, when things aren't working, we default to doing more of the thing we're good at. Raise your hand if that's you. So when COVID hit, April, right? Let's go back to March, April. The entire gig economy was wiped out in a matter of weeks. And what did my artist and musician friends do? They did more music. They freaked out and they said, well, all the gigs are done, but I need to figure out how to do more gigs, so I'm going to do more gigs. So they went on Facebook and they asked people to Venmo them $20. And after about 2 to 3 weeks, it all stopped. Why? Because they were doing the thing that was easy. I'm not saying it was wrong or bad. This is not a judgment situation. But this is saying what happened and why. It's because they went to the thing that they knew how to do. If you don't know how to fix and save your business and when a pandemic hits, you just default to doing more art. So making more, increasing the output, figuring out different ways to perform and play and get money. When in reality, there were other things that they could have done that they didn't want to do that would have served them even better. So that's part of what this build coaching program for next year is all about, is helping you understand what those things are, because a lot of us don't even know, and then how to get over that feeling of, I don't want to do that. That's boring. That's sucky. That's someone else's job. No, it's you. So what are the things that you need to do that you don't want to do in order to achieve these goals? And the answer might be getting coaching, getting help, getting a mentor, finding a partner, hiring somebody. But let's look ahead at the obstacles that might show up. What are they? What are the things that were hard this year that you didn't want to do, that you avoided doing, that maybe could have helped you had you done them? And how are you going to confront those obstacles if and when they show up? What's worked in the past when you've had hard times? So really take this question seriously and write those things down, because those are answers that your brain is giving you when you ask it really good questions. Your brain is kind of this amazing question and answer machine. So if you say, why do I suck so bad? Your brain is going to give you an answer to that question, and it's going to be painful, and you're going to feel bad about yourself all day. So don't ask crappy questions. Ask really good questions. Hey brain, what are some of the things that I need to do that I don't want to do in order to achieve my goals? Sales. That's my answer. Sales are hard for me. I don't like putting myself out there because it means that there's risk of failure and being wrong and being not good enough. Fear. So it helps you identify the fears and help you identify the things that you need to focus on, because those things are probably naturally being neglected because they're not the things that you typically want to do. So it's really important to write down the answer to these questions. So again, it's within the context of these 1-year goals that you've chosen. So write a paragraph about the musts, the reasons that you want to achieve them, and then what are some things that you don't want to do? Write those things down, pause here if you need to, then we're moving on to step 6, which is momentum. Dun, dun, dun. One of the big lessons I've learned over the years is to never, ever leave a goal without first taking some action towards its attainment. Take immediate action. So, first part of this is decide now. What is one small thing you will do immediately, as in today, ideally within the next hour or so after this video is done, towards achieving one of your goals? Make a phone call, book a meeting, schedule a block of time in your calendar to work on it, sign up for something, get a coach, go get the build program, whatever it is, write it down and commit to it. I'm dead serious with this. If you do this process, you take it seriously, and then you close your notebook and you leave it sitting dormant for a day, a week, a month, you're going to come back in a very different emotional state and a very different mindset. And it's not going to work as effectively as if you take action now. So on at least one of your goals, what's something you can do immediately? Who can you call? What can you schedule? What thing can you purchase to help you? Whatever it is, write that down and commit to it at this moment. Like right now, I'm going to do that an hour from now. I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to do that when I get home. I'm going to do it first thing tomorrow morning. Write it down and commit to it. And the second, what is the one big thing that you resolve to do immediately during this goal, to achieve this goal? So this might be this is more like the New Year's resolutions, right? You're resolving to do something. So it's not a specific action that is singular. You're making a decision that's going to become a habit. You're throwing out unhealthy food. You're going to start a workout regimen. You're going to give something away. You're going to quit an unhealthy habit. You're going to start getting up earlier. What's one big thing that you resolve to do immediately to achieve this goal? And commit to it. Again, I'm not in the right state for that sort of a question right now. What's the big thing that you resolve to do immediately to achieve this goal? I immediately started channeling like Drill Sergeant Darren, which doesn't show up very often either, except maybe with my kids sometimes. It's like, you have to go to bed now. So change your physiology again, change your emotional state, stand differently, sit differently, flex, get serious. What's one big thing you resolve to do immediately to achieve this goal? This is not something I've done the rest of this time. This is a new physiology, but we're changing up our physiology and we're saying, I need to be in the right state to commit to this thing. Now, one big thing that I'm resolving to do immediately to achieve this goal is what? Answer it now. Write it down, put it down, commit to it in this state, and freaking hammer it in. We are doing this, okay? This is serious. This is what goal setting and achievement actually looks like. This is what planning out a successful, incredible year looks like. It starts with the commitments you make right now today, okay? That felt good. I like punching stuff. All right, step 7 and then step 8, I believe, is the last 2. I'm scrolling down just to double check. Yeah, 2 left. We're almost there. Step 7, plan. Okay, we'll use a Tony Robbins exclusive rapid planning method framework to ensure that we have enough purpose and massive action to achieve our goals. The great thing about this whole process is that it's leading us to something that's going to incorporate all the other parts of the process that we just went through. So, what do we do? What does this look like? Number 1, ensure your 1-year goals are absolutely a must for you to achieve next year. If you have 8 or 10, there might be 1 or 2 that are nice to haves, but are not musts. And I really encourage you to limit it, even if it means you're cutting down 1 or 2 things. Maybe you only have 1, 2, 3 big goals that you want to achieve next year. It's okay to have 3 to 5. I think if you're getting into the 8 to 10 range, you might have too much. And we need to think about which ones are standing out as musts as opposed to nice to haves. So take your 1-year goals. This is the next step, and this is important. I don't want to just brush through this. We need to take this seriously and do it methodically. So take each one of the 1-year goals that you've ended up with, and you're going to chunk them down into 3, 6, 9, and 12-month steps. What that means is, say you set a goal to start a business that's making $5,000 a month by the end of next year. It's a pretty smart goal, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, et cetera, et cetera. I don't remember what the other 2 are, but I have it written below, so we'll get to that. Now, if that's the end goal, that's the big goal, well, what do we need to accomplish by 9 months out, and 6 months out, and 3 months out? And what do we need to commit to today to get started? So maybe by 3 months, we have a a business that's making $5,000 a month. So maybe within the next 3 months, we have an idea, we have a product, we have the beginnings of an audience, we have a sales channel that's starting to get us some sales and some traffic and some new people. That's a pretty good goal for 3 months. But maybe you want to do more than that. Maybe you want to do less, depending on what your time and what you're feeling is going to work for you and your situation. So in 6 months, well, maybe we should be starting to hit that like $1,000 a month number. And by 9, we can have 3, and by 12, we're going to have 5, or something like that. Maybe it's 1, 2, and 5, because we're going to be going like this. We like businesses that go like this over time. Rocket. So take each one of your 1-year goals and kind of work backwards. Like, okay, well, what do I need to have done in order to get that goal in 12 months? What does 9 months look like? What does 6 months look like? And what does 3 months look like? Now, some of your goals you want to achieve faster than that, and that's okay. If you want to achieve it in the next 3 months, then say, okay, well, what does the next month and 2 months and 3 months look like? Just change the duration of those chunks. If, goals that are accomplishable next week, well, just go do it, man, or woman, just go do it. But I think we're focusing on things that are going to take 3 to 12 months to achieve. And you can chunk that down however you want. You can chunk 3 months into 12 weeks, or you can chunk 12 months into 4 steps or 12 steps or 50 steps. It's up to you. And we're going to talk about how to do that when we talk about the RPM framework, the rapid planning method framework that we're going to talk about. So, step 3, prioritize your goals in the order you want to achieve them. This is part of what I was just talking about. If you have a 3-month goal, that's going to be a higher priority than your 12-month goals, because you don't want to neglect your 3-month goals and get 3 months down the line and go, wow, I didn't spend any time on that, and now I have to start over with 3 months out. It would be nice to have it sooner. So prioritize them based on, what do you want to happen first? What do you want to have now? What do you want to have sooner? And which ones need to come before other ones? Because some of your goals are going to be built off of the work you do on a different goal in order to achieve that one, right? So maybe you need to start an exercise regimen first and have that up and running in the next 3 to 6 months before you do a Spartan race 9 months from now, right? You don't want to do a Spartan race without first exercising and working out for that. I know from experience because I spent 8 months lifting weights and doing pull-ups and stuff like that and not running, and then my foot hurt for like 3 months because I had to run 8 miles up and down a mountain 12 times. It hurt for a long time. So I'll never do that again. Not the Spartan race. I would love to do a Spartan race again. I'm just never going to not train again or put my goals in reverse order. That's the whole point of that story. Let's move on to question 4. Create an RPM plan for each one of your goals and make sure that the results are SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, with a time frame. Okay? So we're going to talk about RPM plans. That's the example that comes after this. So this is the last step. We're talking about planning. Number 5, commit and schedule your massive action plans into your calendar for the next year. 6, set up a way to track and measure your process. And this is where I'm going to put in a plug for Benchmark. Now, Benchmark is a tool. It's the app that my brother and I have been building this year. Within the next month or two, it's going to be an actual web application. But right now, you can get awesome lifetime access to it. So go to Benchmark. Whoa, typing is hard. .app, and you can get the app. And what's great about this is for the couple hundred people that buy this before we turn it into a web application, you get lifetime access for $49, which is pretty crazy because the app itself is going to cost $15 a month, which is $180 a year, which over a couple years costs money, and you get it for a lot cheaper. So go to benchmark.app. You can see it in action. I do a little walkthrough. We've interviewed some of my creative friends who are super awesome, who have also kind of started using the app. It talks about how to grow and run your business by tracking these analytics and the data. So you can get it there. If you buy it, it's a lifetime access to the app. So that is pretty cool. So it's a way to track and measure the progress of your business. And the last thing is, we are through our yearly planning and goal setting process. So this is the end of that session. We need to celebrate because you did it. You now, after all of this, you have a 1-year plan with very specific actions to take that ensure that you will reach your goals. And that's exciting. So tell somebody that you love. Go and celebrate. Post online. Tell me, like email me or leave me a comment here saying how you feel right now, because this is pretty awesome. When you go through this process, you should feel on top of the world and completely empowered and motivated and driven to go and start doing things. So thank you, but I want to show you what an RPM example looks like, because some of you may still be going, wait, create an RPM plan. I don't know what that looks like. So celebrate, but also check this out, because we're only at 52 minutes. I have 8 minutes left before we hit our 8-minute mark. See if I can do this in 8 minutes. RPM plan example. So what you're going to do, I actually have a whole very specific planner for this process. RPM is a Tony Robbins exclusive, not exclusive, that's the wrong thing, copywritten by him, but it's the planning framework that I use every day, every week, every month, every year. It's what I use because it's what works. Now, every single person has a different brain and a different ratio of left brain to right brain. I'm like 50-50. I'm one of those weird anomalies that I can be real pure creative at times, and I can be real pure left brain. That's the one that likes spreadsheets and stuff, right? Like I built an app that's basically a spreadsheet. So I get spreadsheets, and I can really get into those and love them. So here's what this looks like. Basically, there's 3 sections to an RPM plan. So what you're going to do first is, what's the result that you're after? Again, this needs to be a SMART goal. What's SMART stand for? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, with a time frame. So a good goal, I will lose 5% body fat in the next 3 months by working out 3 times per week and cutting out all sugar and practicing intermittent fasting. That is a SMART goal. It's specific. It's measurable. 5% body fat, you can track that and you can measure it to make sure that you actually did it. It's achievable, absolutely. Attainable, achievable, same word, right? Realistic, and with a time frame, 3 months from now, okay? So whatever your goals are, you want to do a different RPM plan for every single one of your 1-year goals. You want to put down the result in that sort of a framing. So I will achieve this result by this time by doing this. That's the result that you're talking about. Now we can steal some of the purpose that we've written down, some of the reasons why it's a must, and put them here underneath that goal. So maybe you have a sheet of paper. At the top, it has your result. And underneath that, you've got a little section for purpose. What will it mean to you and others to accomplish this goal? Who will you become? How will it feel? What will it mean? Write those things down under purpose. And then you want to write down your massive action plan. So this is where you're writing down the actual actions that you're going to take. And no idea is a bad idea. And realistically, this is where that Pareto principle comes into play, where 80% or 20% of the work you do is going to be responsible for 80% of the results. So you might write down 10 things, but maybe 2 of them is going to get you 80% or 90% of the way there. So some things that you can write in this section. How much time is it going to take you? Is there someone you can leverage, like a partner or an assistant or employee that can take some of this off your plate? And then take those actions that you wrote down and prioritize them. Put them in order. Put next to it how much time you think it's going to take. A day, 4 hours, 1 hour, 12 weeks, whatever. And then take that very first one, the thing that you think is the most important, the most essential, the one that needs to happen first, and do that. And chunk that into weekly steps. And you can actually do an RPM plan for that first action step. So maybe the first action step is, based on this example, I will lose 5% body fat by working out 3 times per week. Well, step number 1 is I'm going to research and find and pick a exercise plan that lasts for 12 weeks. So that's going to take you an hour, and you're going to schedule it out. But the first thing you could do is put down that result on its own RPM plan, write down why it's important, the purpose, and then how are you going to do it? Well, I'm going to schedule it in my calendar right here, and there it is. And then you go do it. And then you attack every single step that you wrote down that same way. So you chunk down the first one into weekly steps, and you take every week, you go in and you say, well, what do I want to accomplish this week? Well, I'm going to go back to my RPM plans for my different goals and see what's next. And then I'm going to put it into my plan for the week. That's what that looks like. There's a lot more training that I'm going to be doing on this, as well as every other aspect to building a resilient business, one that's profitable, one that's fulfilling, one that works to support you in your creative work. And I'm going to be doing that over the next 12 months. And you don't have to sign up now. You can sign up anytime, but we're kicking off with this right now today. The thing you're watching is kind of the kickoff. But you can join us at build.craftsmancreative.co. What it includes is everything you need to get your business, the goals that you set today for your business, and achieve them. So it includes monthly coaching and videos from me. So I will be sending out a training, video, audio, and text training once or twice a month for the next 12 months in a very structured and thought out way, to where we're starting here and we're ending here, and the things go in order and they build on themselves. So you'll have monthly coaching emails and videos, a private podcast feed if you want to listen or re-listen to things in the car or using audio, a private community of peers on the same journey. I just set this up and I'm very, very excited for it. This first cohort of people is probably going to be small, but the cool thing about that is you get way more attention than if there's 100 or 200 or 1,000 people in the cohort. So if you're one of the 10 to 20 people that I'm kind of limiting this to, that's starting in January, you're going to get a ton of one-on-one time with me specific to your business and your life and your goals than you would get a year from now, because there's going to be tens and hundreds of people signing up over the next year. And then we're also going to have monthly live Q&A videos where you can bring yourself and your business front and center and get feedback, not just from me, but from the other people that are in the community and in the cohort going, yeah, well, this is what I would do, or I've had that experience and this is what worked for me. So all of this, again, like I could list features and benefits all day long, but what it means for you is that you finally have a very direct, proven way to get the results that you want in your business. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm not just talking about more clients and more work and more of those things. Those will come, but the bigger goals are being able to understand who you are as a creative person, the things that drive you, the things that you should be making in order to be fulfilled in your career, and getting you to the point where you understand how to create the kind of freedom that you want for yourself and your family. And I'm not just talking about control over your business, but freedom of time, of location, of how, when, where, what you work on, and with who, because those are the things that really matter. So again, you can go to build.craftsmancreative.co and sign up for that. So thank you for watching. If you want to get the recording of this, well, first of all, it's going to live here on Facebook. I'll never take it down because I think it's awesome for as many people as possible to see it. So if you watch this, if you liked it, please share it. I would love for you to direct message it to people or share it on your own personal profiles, because as many people as I can reach, I feel like people are going to have an opportunity to do more with the creative work that they were meant to do if they can have a system like this that helps them achieve the goals they want in their business over the next year. And it's worked for me, so it's got to work for them, right? That's how this works. But if you're interested in getting a recording, if you want the workbook, the link to the workbook, then head over to build.craftsmancreative.co. Put in your email address, sign up for the Build program if you're interested in taking your business a little bit more seriously next year and getting help from me and a community of peers. And if not, it's okay. You can get this workbook for free over there, and it'll walk you through every step of the process we went through today on this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please share this, like it, comment, let me know what you're going to be working on in the next year, because I'm excited to find out what you're going to be doing next year with your business. Thank you, and we will see you on the other side.